of Holy Israel. That Holy Israel is the ruling state in the world. What do we mean by a ruling state? A ruling state does not have to rule every square inch of the suburbs of Chicago and every square inch of the suburbs of Bombay. No. When we use the term ruling state, we mean that no rival or no community of rivals, no group of rivals could possibly supersede the power and status of the state. Hence, the ruling state in the world. This was the golden age when the Jews ruled the world. And history cannot end until that golden age is restored. That a promised Messiah, divinely promised Messiah, will come. And when he comes, he will rule the world from holy Jerusalem, from the state of Israel. And this will bring back that golden age. And this will be the validation of Judaism's claim to truth. In the same way that the Christians concluded, Jesus is coming back soon. Here is the evidence. Here is the evidence that Israel has been restored. So Jesus is coming back soon. All the Christians believe that. So too, the Jews of the world are living on the edge now, biting their fingernails in excitement. Why? Oh, the Messiah must be around the corner. We are expecting him any moment. Why? The evidence is there that we were given this holy land by Allah Most High. He gave it to us. The deed for the Holy Land is in our name. And we were a people who betrayed our covenant with Allah. And so He punished us and expelled us. And we were in exile for many years. But now, by divine grace, the Holy Land has been liberated. And when I use the word liberated, can I be speaking as a Muslim who says the Holy Land is liberated? No, I'm speaking from their viewpoint. And I would have expected that my audience would have at least 5 ringgits worth of intelligence, and not to object to my use of the word liberated. I'm speaking from their perspective. From our perspective as Muslims, the Holy Land was free when we ruled over it. There was justice and there was freedom in the Holy Land for more than 1,000 years when Muslim rule existed. And now that freedom is gone. And now there is oppression and slavery in the Holy Land. So it's no longer a liberated territory. It's now an occupied Holy Land. This is our perspective. But we are speaking from their perspective. And 5 ringgits worth of intelligence could understand why I use the word liberated from their perspective. So the Holy Land is liberated. That means that they are now excited. And then We return to the Holy Land to reclaim it as our own. From their perspective, why can't people understand? It is simple English that I'm using. I can't speak Bahasa. So they're even more excited now. And then a state of Israel is born in 1948. And therefore the excitement increases. And that state of Israel grows and grows and grows in power until it is now poised to take over from the United States as the next ruling state in the world. That takeover cannot take place without the crash of the US dollar. And this is why the US dollar is now being deliberately dismantled. It's not happening by accident. It was planned long in advance. The US economy is now deliberately being dismantled. It's not happening by accident. It was planned long in advance. And a black man was put into the White House to take the blame for it. Yes. So Israel is about to replace the United States of America. We have explained this Jewish view in our book Jerusalem in the Quran, and it is now also translated into Bahasa, Jerusalem di dalam Al-Quran. But you notice the Bahasa book is twice the size of the English book. And so they are living on the edge now, biting their fingernails in excitement that the Messiah is about to come. And when he comes, it will validate the Jewish claim to truth. They are convinced that history is moving in that direction. Modern Western civilization is a very curious creature. It emerged in history in a very mysterious way. The more we look at it, the more it looks like a rival sunrise to the one ordained by Allah. This is our sunrise, the truth. In our sunrise, the sunrise is from the east. And the truth therefore comes with that sunrise from the east. But modern Western civilization has come to rival truth. Rival the truth which came with Abraham alayhi salam. The truth which came with David and Solomon and Jesus alayhim salam. Rival the truth which came with Islam. Everything that modern Western civilization has done was to present an alternative to the religious way of life. And so this is something mysterious. This could not have emerged by accident. It looks like a plan at work. And there are those who have eyes and they want to see, and ears and they want to hear, and hearts and they want to understand. They're not a people who are content to simply wake up in the morning and go to work after having your roti canai and work all day and face the traffic and come back in the evening, sit down, have dinner and watch television and go to sleep. Those are the cattle. The cattle. But there are others, men and women, who think and they want to understand. They're not cattle. Such people would ask, did this happen by accident? Or is there an explanation for the emergence of modern Western civilization? Modern Western civilization has as its foremost thinker and scholar presenting its view on history in the person of a German philosopher of history whose name was Friedrich Hegel. And there's a long line and a straight line from Friedrich Hegel to Francis Fukuyama. Hegel was of the view that history proceeds and history advances with the emergence of a thesis which is then challenged by an antithesis, opposites. And the clash of the two results eventually in their being synthesized, coming together in a synthesis which represents advance of civilization. And so mankind is constantly moving in a direction which is progressive. The Christian view was regressive, going down. The Jewish view is similarly regressive, going down from the Golden Age. But this Western view is linear, straight line, but progressive, advancing. So every age that comes supersedes the age which came before it. And every age that comes represents advancement in human progress. And since modern Western civilization came after Judaism and Christianity and Hinduism and Buddhism and Islam, the implication is that modern Western civilization has synthesized all that came before it and has now advanced beyond traditional religion. A new world has come now beyond old time and old fashioned religion. I think you have a coffee in KL, it's called Old Town Coffee. Old Town Coffee. So, old time religion. And so, modern Western civilization is of the fervent view that religion has now been superseded. That religion, the religions of the world, are merely tolerated, but they have no role to play in what remains of history. The religions now exist in the museums of history, including Islam. And so a new world emerges, a world of politics, where modern Western civilization presents to you political philosophy, a political system, a model of a state. And mankind is required to abandon all that they had previously, including the Khilafah, and embrace this new model which has come from modern Western civilization. What you had before now belongs to the museum. It has no role to play in the future of history. Modern Western civilization therefore gave to the world political secularism. Political secularism. Meaning, God no longer has a role to play in politics. I wish I could spend another 15 or 20 minutes on modern Western civilization, but then we would never end the lecture. But I do want to tickle your intellect and force you to think that this actor has not appeared on the stage of history by accident. This actor, modern Western civilization, has been craftily designed. Like nothing else in history, this civilization has been designed to glitter like gold from the outside. Like nothing has glittered in history. Modern scientific and technological revolution, which is still unfolding and which has the capacity to change the whole world overnight. No PhD in marketing could do it. 10 years ago, hardly anyone had a cellular phone. 10 years ago. This must be a marketing genius, that within a short span of 10 years, you now have cellular phones in the hand of every maid, every workman, and some of them have 2 and 3 cellular phones. And where you thought that probably the fellow had a headache, what's he had his hand here. No, it's not a headache. The fellow is talking to somebody. You sit down for dinner, and while you're sitting down for dinner, this fellow has a telephone call, and you're eating and you're hearing all about the business transactions he's making and so on. They don't even have the manners to excuse themselves and have their conversation privately, or switch off the stupid thing while you're eating. So we now have the ethics of the cellular phone. Who are those who have some manners? Who are those who have no manners? You pick up the phone and you can call Chicago from your dining table, where yesterday it took 6 months for a ship to take the letter. 6 months. And then after that you had to go and book a call and wait for hours before you could get your call to Chicago, or send something called a telegram. Who sends telegrams anymore? Modern Western civilization is changing the world in a way that nothing ever in history can compare. Who uses a ship anymore to travel? Will your father travel with a ship to go perform the Hajj? Your grandfather used to go by ship to London. Ask them, they're still alive. Nobody travels by ship anymore.